If you're thinking about getting into YouTube, starting a YouTube channel, or maybe you've already got a channel and you're looking to grow it or improve it, then maybe this is the channel for you. Today, in my very first video, we're going to cover some tips, traps, just to get you going. And also we're going to talk about the most fundamental question that you need to answer before you even start. So, come and join us. Let's smash it out. Hi there, my name's Mark and welcome to my YouTube project. This is the channel about starting and growing and building a YouTube channel. Everything that we cover in this channel is all about building another channel. And you'll see as we go through things in this channel, you'll see us learn things, we'll develop things, but you'll actually see it implemented and working in another channel, but more about that soon. So this is my very first YouTube video, so excuse me if I'm a bit jittery and trying to work all of this out. It is a little bit nerve-wracking, but hopefully, as part of any YouTube journey, it'll get better over time. I will look back on this one day and just cringe, I'm sure, as you might be cringing now. Anyway, let's get going. We've got some tips, we've got some traps, and we do have a fundamental question that we need to talk about. So if you like the sound of what we're going to cover in this channel and the things that we're going to be learning over, well, forever really on YouTube, then I'd really love you to subscribe to the channel and also hit the bell button so that you keep up with all the videos as they come out. The great thing about YouTube and social media generally is, of course, that it's easy to get into. It doesn't take very long to get online and start an account, start a channel on YouTube. You can do it in very quick time and it costs you pretty much nothing. And a lot of people do that. They just get on and they start going. If that's what you want to do, and a lot of people do it, then that's absolutely fine. And that's the great thing about social media in general. But if you've got grander plans and you want to, you've got visions of having a big YouTube channel or a big social media following, or it's part of your business strategy, then you probably need to give things a little bit more thought. And you need to start to put some foundations in early that are really going to set you up for long-term success. So for me, coming onto YouTube was not about just jumping in and starting to post random videos. I actually wanted to think about it and really consider what I wanted to do, what did I want to build, and how did it fit in with my business and other social media elements. And because I was learning so much, I guess that's the reason I started this channel. For some time now, I've actually been doing my research and my thinking and my navel gazing, if you like, and really starting to think about what it is I wanted to do here, but also as part of that, that broader plan. Now, there is no shortage of people and material and channels that you can tap into, here on YouTube and in other places. And, it's really quite daunting when you first start looking. I know when I started looking and Googling and looking at YouTube, the amount of information out there is absolutely phenomenal. If you go onto Google and you type in how to start a YouTube channel, you'll get over 1.6 billion results. That's a lot, and it's really quite overwhelming. And to sift through that and to make sense of it all is also quite a challenge in itself. So I'm hoping that on this channel that you'll get the benefit of me having done some of that research and some of that distillation process, if you like, and you'll see what I'm actually doing to build the other channel, and you can learn and you can apply that stuff to your channel as well. One of the things that I really found when I started looking at getting into YouTube and starting to build a channel was the number of things that I actually had to do. And this is all the stuff, again, that we're going to cover in this channel over time, and particularly over the next few weeks, because I really want to try and share with you all the things that I've learned and the things that I'm actually doing right now to get my other channel up and running. Hey, I'm video bombing my own video. How about that? Stick around to the end of this video because I've got a couple more things to share with you based on what I've seen in editing this video. See you there. So let's get into some of the tips. So my first tip really is to explore. If you're not active on YouTube, get active. Start looking around, start having a look at what other channels are doing, how it works, do a little bit of research, do a bit of fishing around, and particularly clue into some of the channels that you think that you might like to be like. So start to gather your thinking around what your channel's ultimately going to look like. And that really leads into tip number 2, and that is to start thinking about your niche. Now, sure, you can get onto YouTube and you can start posting random videos about all sorts of things. And if that's what you want to do, that is absolutely fine. That is, again, the beauty of social media and YouTube. You can really post whatever you want. But if you're actually thinking about what you want to do long term, and you're seeing yourself as growing in terms of a channel and subscribers, and maybe hooking in some of your other social media, then you really need to narrow it down. You need to start coming up with what your niche looks like, and we are going to cover that in a separate video. There are some techniques and tips that I can give to help kind of narrow that down. But for the moment, just think about what is it that you actually want to actually cover on your channel. Remember, when you first start a channel, nobody knows who you are. So unless you're already a celebrity, then people aren't going to be drawn to your channel just because of who you are. Ultimately, it's going to be what what you're presenting in your channel. And that's something that you really need to think about. As you grow, you can get away with expanding a little bit and starting to include more related pieces. But for the moment, you really need to think about, all right, what is the thing I'm going to focus on in my channel? And my third tip, really, and this is what I've been doing for quite some time, is to actually capture my thinking. Now, I know that sounds, maybe that sounds obvious, or maybe it doesn't. I'm a little bit old school, so what I do is I grab myself a nice big juicy notebook with a glossy cover, and that becomes my project book. And as I find ideas, or I get thoughts about how I want things to look or feel, or things that I've uncovered, or bits that I need to do, all of that stuff just goes into my book. Now, you can do that literally as a notebook. You could do it on your phone, you could do it on your computer, type up a document, whatever works. Get a whiteboard and stick it on your wall. I also have a pin board over my desk, so as I think of things, sometimes I'll rip off a sticky note and just put it up on the wall when I've got an idea, and I'll come back to that later on. So what about some traps? I think the first trap that is easy to fall into is becoming overwhelmed with the amount of information that's available. And again, this channel is to try and help work through that process and strip out the stuff that we don't really need to worry about now. But don't think too far ahead. Really think about big picture far ahead. But in terms of the detail, building a channel or building anything really, it starts from the ground up. We've got to do the foundations, and there's a bunch of stuff that we're going to have to work through. So yes, there's a lot of stuff out there. Make notes about what you may be thinking that you might need to do at some point in time. But initially try not to be overwhelmed. Just realise that as we go through this process and plan, it will all start to make sense, and those pieces will start to fall into place. The second trap, I think, is to being disorganised. Again, because there's so much information and so many things going through your head when you're starting a channel, try and find ways to approach that in a logical sense. So, you don't have to worry too much about supercharging your YouTube channel now when you're just starting out. So really focus on the basics, but as you find information, try and put it in some logical order and be organised so that you can come back to it and refer to it at a later stage. Third trap that comes out of that is really this seeking perfection. Because when we start to do our research, we start to look around, we start to look at other channels and we go, oh yeah, that's really good. I really love what that person does. Wow, I'm never going to be like that. Look, this video itself is testimony that you've got to start somewhere, and it's not going to be perfect. I know I'm not perfect, far from it. And the things that you do, the things that you start out with are going to be very basic in nature. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to start out with the basics, and we're going to move through a process of getting better and better and better and refining our craft. So don't try and be perfect to start with. Now let's talk about the fundamental question that you need to answer before you even start your channel. Now, you probably already know what it is, and it really is a simple question. The question is why? Why are you starting your channel? Now, there are lots of reasons why people start channels. It's a bit of fun, it's a hobby, they want to make a quick buck, or it's part of a longer term plan to share knowledge, share information. It might even be part of a longer term business plan or part of an overall social media strategy. Whatever it is perfectly fine, but you need to have that kind of in your head when you start, because these are things that might shape how you actually set up your channel and how you start running on YouTube. So for example, if you've got a long-term desire to be, have a big YouTube channel that's generating money and is part of a social media piece, you may want that to be a business. And you would need to set up as a business or a branded account within YouTube. Now, if you've started as a personal account and you try and flip over midstream, you can do it, but you'll lose a lot in that process. So it's much easier just to start out with a branded account. These are all things that we will cover, but this is the type of thinking that we really need to do at the beginning, so that as we do put our foundations in place, they're foundations that are going to enable us to grow effectively without having too many hitches along the way. So for me, from here, look, this at the moment it's not a full-time gig for me. I'd love it if it was. It'd be great, but it's not yet. So I am going to do my best to churn out some of the content. Every Thursday will be the day that I post videos on this channel, guaranteed. But in the early stages, I'm going to try and crank out a few extra videos for you guys as well. So thanks for watching this video. So the next things we're going to cover really are understanding the phases of how a YouTube channel actually grows from 0 through to whatever, the sky's the limit. There's a bunch of different phases that it goes through, and that's why we start at the beginning and we work through those different phases and we build and we build and we build. So we'll cover what those phases look like. We'll also start to work through the checklist of things that you need when you're actually starting your channel. And that includes a whole range of things, including equipment and a couple of other things that you'll need as part of setting up your channel. The other thing that we will cover very soon is about how to find your niche. And there are some simple things that you can do when you're exploring that to work that out and come up with what your niche on YouTube is going to be. As I said before, if there are other things that you are busting to know about, please put it in the comments below. So I hope you got something out of my first video. I'm sorry it's a little bit all over the place, probably a little bit rambly. I'm working on it. I am determined to improve and build a good channel. So if you liked it, please hit that like button. If you didn't, then hit the dislike button. And also your support is just hugely appreciated. So if you think you can get something out of this channel, please hit subscribe and don't forget to hit the little bell so that as I start posting videos, you'll be notified. Till next time, good luck. Don't forget the tips that I've given you. Go off, do your research, do your thinking, and join me in the next video. Till then, let's smash it out. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. So this being my first video, I've looked back on it as I've been editing it, and wow, I've got to say there's a lot of room for improvement. But this is part of the learning journey. I've looked at myself in the video and I can see the way I talk, the way I'm sitting, the clothes I'm wearing, all of this kind of stuff. But you know what? It is my first video. And I thought about reshooting it and putting it up and spending a lot more time trying to get it right, get it perfect. But really that's not what this is about. And when you start out, you've just got to accept that it's not going to be perfect when you first get out there in front of the camera, which actually is a lot harder than what I thought. So don't aim for perfection. And I'm going to leave this up as my first video in its current form because that's the baseline, and it'll only get better from here. So really, I hope, I hope that stick with me as we keep going on this journey together. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you see the new videos as I spit them out. And if you feel inclined, leave me some feedback in the comments below because I really love the feedback because, as I said, it can only get better from here. See you next time.